the airplane table / chairs.
Oh yeah.
Right? Wouldn't that be amazing? I don't know how to. Oh, we're in the middle of a conversation. So we're talking about the tweet for I don't know when we came back in. It's talking about the tweet where it was the airplane. I don't know how to make that work on this set.
Yeah.
But would that like those chairs right now? You'd be super loungy. You'd be like this, but they look so awesome.
Cool.
They're $2,000 a piece, but still, like all of this combined still doesn't equal one chair.
Yeah, we understand.
Yeah. So what didn't we talk about that we should here? Let's bring the chat room back up so that.
Go back to the questions.
Do we have questions we didn't?
I'm sure you did.
Let's geek out about the work of NASA EagleWorks and the EM drive and warp fields.
Okay. There have been quite a number of.
Ready, go!
Wait, do you need me to leave? Goodness.
No. There have been quite a number of papers and quite a number of presentations by Harold Sonny White, who is the primary researcher who's doing this EagleWorks project at NASA Johnson.
What's EagleWorks?
EagleWorks is kind of an R&D lab, and I think
like
that,
saying Skunkworks?
Yeah, but even not as well funded. Skunkworks is like a real thing. These guys, I mean, the numbers that I've seen have been like today they've spent like $10,000.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
yeah.
so
we spend more on this show than they do. One of those.
Yeah.
All right.
That's really frightening.
Yeah.
The ideal behind this thing is that it's an electric propulsion system that's electric only. In an ion drive, you're using electricity to drive xenon or something as your propellant.
Sure.
This is, and if you go watch the videos where he's talking about this, he specifically does not say, or he specifically says it's not a propellantless propulsion. That's impossible.
It can't be.
Right. They've got a theory where what they're seeing, here's what they say that their theory is, that what they're seeing is that they are essentially creating an imbalance in the quantum vacuum fluctuations, and that imbalance causes the thing to want to propagate in one direction. So
explain it to me like I'm 5. You just did?
That's the best I got. All right.
I don't understand the quantum part. So
okay.
We're bending the fabric of space, or what are we? Not really.
The concept is that there's these virtual particles that pop in and out of existence.
Okay.
All right. And what you're doing is essentially skewing them one way or the other by coupling them with microwaves of a certain frequency and in a certain geometry. And so you're actually pushing them and creating there's more of them back here and less of them here, so your device wants to go that way and
that is
my imbalance.
That is my propellant?
Yeah. That's the concept.
How do we test that?
You put it in a vacuum and you put it out away from anything else that could possibly influence it, and free floating. So you basically put it on a satellite.
Yeah, so I mean, you're gonna have to put it. Well, even then, I mean, microgravity and.
Well, but if it creates propulsion in space, we're done. I don't care that there's microgravity or not.
How much
microgravity.
propulsion is this? Is this like itty bitty teeny weeny, like you got to keep on the gas kind of thing?
Yeah. What they've currently measured is 0.3 of a Newton per kilowatt. The theory says that they should be a lot higher than that. The theory says that they should be on the order of 10 newtons to the kilowatt.
Okay.
All right.
That's a significant difference.
It is a significant. Well, it's about it's a factor of what, 30?
Yeah.
So it's an order of magnitude.
Yeah.
Well, this is their first. The fact that they've got a theory that
I'm
says
trying to relate that to something that I can.
Okay.
Mean, it's like so I get it, but I mean, it's like spitting out one. I mean, how much power is that really?
Okay, so a kilowatt is a half a power of a hairdryer.
All right.
All right.
How many football fields is it? Sorry. Yeah.
I asked that. Did you see I asked that?
I did. You see how I skipped over it?
Whatever.
Okay. The amount of thrust that you're talking about is about 10 times what an ion drive puts out.
Okay, and we use ion drives today. That's real propulsion in space.
That's real propulsion in space. Mm-hmm. Yeah. there's a bunch of stuff. Rosetta, Dawn, all this. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
all kinds of
10 times the power of an ion drive on...
For a kilowatt of power.
So for half of what I'm using a hairdryer for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But how much?
That's a lot of power.
I mean, how much do we normally put into space?
Satellites that have a total power budget in the double-digit kilowatts are available.
Okay. For how long can I run those in double digits?
Not long. 5 kilowatt stuff is baseline. There's 5 to 10 kilowatts.
Here, you can pull this closer. I'm sorry.
5 to 10 kilowatts worth of satellite is a stock off the shelf item.
So
I built those. That's anything. That's an anything satellite.
I feel like this is something that should be funded better.
Yeah.
It is,
I mean,
is
they're doing it on the lunch
real, or
hours.
is everyone kind of like laughing at it?
Yeah. They're doing it. They're doing it on their lunch hours and after work right now.
What was the
kind of
acronym?
stuff.
The FIH?
Food and hallway.
Food and hallway. They're doing it during FIH.
Yeah, FIH time. Yes,
Yeah.
right. So, in comparison, the thrusters that you would normally use in order to control the spin of a satellite, the attitude is of a satellite is where it's pointing and how fast it's rotating. It's not good or bad. It's happy or sad. It's where it's pointing. That's attitude for a satellite. And
Oh my God.
so the L-Cross, little tiny satellite, L-Cross would have definitely fit in this room, right? It was 6 feet in diameter and 3 feet tall.
I guess I never actually considered how big it was.
Wasn't
but
that
okay,
big?
yeah.
Wasn't that big? I have a picture of it on my laptop with me standing next to the satellite in the clean room with the bunny suits on and everything.
Well, that's not fair. You're gigantic.
Yeah, but you at least get a relative size. The attitude control thrusters on L-Cross were 5 Newton thrusters. Okay, and so we're talking about they've already created things in a first generation prototype that's 0.3 newtons. Okay, so you could control the attitude of a satellite with that. It wouldn't be fast. I mean, it wouldn't be sporty, but it would work.
Actually, go back. Someone brought up, I think Eeyore said, and the accepted physics said they should get 0 newtons.
That's not really quite true because they have a theory that fits within the standard model that says that, yes, this is why this thing should work. So it's not quite that it violates all the rules of physics. It doesn't.
Does it violate any rules of physics?
By the descriptions that we've seen so far, no.
Okay.
Now, interestingly, there's 3 different kinds of drives that they're currently evaluating. One's called the EM drive. This is it's a conic shape that's cut off, so it's called a frustummed cone. So and it's not that big. This thing is about that long and about this big around, and it's copper, and so it kind of comes down and it's flat on both sides.
I think we did a story on this not that long ago.
I think you have.
Yeah.
The second one is called a Canet drive, named from the guy who invented it.
I think we did a story on that too.
Quite a while ago,
Yeah.
maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And that is kind of shaped like a donut. It's a torus. It's a flat object, but then it has like the cross section kind of looks like this, where it's flat across one side and it kind of curves up and it's flat across the other side. And you actually inject the microwaves in it, and it comes up this way and produces thrust. In, I don't remember which direction. The third one is called a Q drive.
That one we have not done a story on.
Okay, and
I would remember that.
And all 3 of these are being investigated by the same group. The Q drive is somewhat similar to an Alcubierre warp drive.
Does it mess with Captain Jean-Luc Picard?
We certainly hope not, because we like Captain Jean-Luc Picard. And so they have what they would consider to be plausible physics explanations as to why all 3 of these things show anomalous thrust. When, a lot of people would say that they shouldn't show any, they are showing something. There's something real there. They've tested them in a vacuum.
Could it be the equipment? Could it be the test equipment?
It could be, and of course everybody's trying to say that it is or that it isn't, and that they're trying to. It's very controversial right now. So it's a really interesting topic to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on there. Because if they're right, man, that's such a game changer. It's almost the change it would make in the space industry is almost inconceivable.
What's bigger, that drive or Sea Dragon being built?
Oh, that drive.
Really?
Oh yeah.
All right.
That drive will take us to the stars.
Why will it take? Because you're just pressing on the gas pedal and just keep going.
You take these things and you stack them up.
Okay.
And how many of them do you have? And how much power can you put into it? That's all a matter of...
Yeah, but how much power can you put into it? That's the issue with Vasimir, right? I mean, you can
Yeah.
only get so much power in space, and there's a point where, I mean, we're not putting nuclear reactors up there.
Yet.
Well, again, more.
There are people who have those reactors designed. The Russians, for instance.
Sure, and well, it's not happening in the U.S.
Yeah.
I don't think, just politically.
Yeah, politically, yeah, it's too
not
much of a
gonna-
hot potato.
Maybe China, but even then, the international pressure that they're going to get to not do it, I just...
Russians don't care. Russians fly reactors anyway.
That may be true. That may be true. Well, you know, China may not care either. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not convinced that we'll see that.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced we'll see that power source up in space anytime soon, other than like tiny stuff on rovers, which I don't think we're going to see much of it anymore anyhow.
Yeah, there's not much left.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So anyhow, so then how else could we power this stuff? Giant solar photovoltaics?
Yeah.
Kinda?
Tesla batteries.
Tesla. Oh, there you go. We need to just fly the power wall up. Yeah, there's just giant Tesla
Comes
power
in
wall.
colors.
Comes in colors to match your rocket.
There's some pretty big lithium-ion battery systems out there that are space qualified. I mean, there's big stuff out there.
How big is big? Big
big.
as this room?
No. Not that big.
Pretty big.
Pretty big.
Yeah, 10 by 10 by 10. All right, cool. All right.
Somebody want to make sure that we talked about the bingo, Splashdown Bingo.
Oh yeah, Splashdown Bingo.
Splashdown Bingo.
So what we're going to talk. Well, you described it fairly well as to what's going on, what's happening on the show itself. So I don't think
Sure.
we need to talk more about what you've done right now, but it does become an interesting platform, I think.
I think it's an
For,
interesting gamifying platform where we could talk about
Gamifying platform.
right. So you could talk about and we really need to do this. Have this grid with a map of the Earth with a grid, and the letters go down one side and the numbers go across. I think it runs A to S and 45 or something. I don't know what the column count was. And so the idea was that you'd pick a square, right? And you'd pick a square by using a hashtag on Twitter, and that would be the game, right? And then you'd have some no prize or something, that you would give out for this. But then you could. What you're basically doing is gamifying information. So if somebody calls out, hey, here's a picture from space, anybody know where this is? Okay, hashtag, picture from space. And so if you had the Twitter hashtag picture from space, we make a bot that combs Twitter looking for the hashtag, populates the grid automatically, runs the game from from now until 3 days from now, and at the end of that, here's the winner, and we tweet it back out, and you get a
That'd be kind of fun.
You get a no prize. I think that's a really straightforward app to make, and
It's worth
So,
$1 billion.
hey, it's a
In
great
Silicon
idea.
Valley dollars, it's worth $1 billion.
Let's hope. I'm all about Splashdown Bingo. Yeah, it really is re-entry bingo. That was one of the comments in here.
Yeah, I suppose.
the progress. Yeah,
It's not even. It's re-entry battleship. Is really.
It's
what
kind
it
of
is.
battleship. So yeah, the Soyuz, the Progress, is going to burn up in the atmosphere. Especially, I hadn't realized how much propellant it was carrying.
Ooh, it's all hypergulls too.
Yep. It's
Stay
yeah.
away, people. Stay
Yeah.
away.
It'll blow up. It'll blow up and burn up in the atmosphere.
Yeah, but you're still going to get chunks that come down.
You'll get some stuff, but it's not going to be very big. Most of it, all of it, will burn up. So it really is kind of re-entry bingo, and we're going to have to determine. NASA will give us a re-entry interface time and location, and that's going to have to be our good enough point. Because once it enters the atmosphere, it's going to go a long way before it really burns up.
Cover thousands
quarter
of miles.
quarter of the Earth or something. I mean, it's a long way. So probably 1,000 miles. So there's going to have to be some point at which NASA will go. The re-entry was at this location at this date and time, and that'll
They'll
be
do it
and then it'll
with
be
that
our
much
winner.
enthusiasm too.
And then
Re-entry interface.
Re-entry interface was-
Minnie started just saying that Scott Kelly's doing something like similar to this right now. Every Wednesday, he tweets a picture from space. Winner gets a signed piece of space flown stuff.
That's amazing. I want
That's
space
awesome.
flown stuff.
yeah, that's really cool.
Hashtag
and
you're in space.
Right. So this would be a great way to just make a platform that would handle that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. It'd be fairly automated too, right?
Yeah,
Reset
that's
it.
the automated is the problem. You know, I suggested that we try and get Jimmy Kimmel to retweet the space Splashdown Bingo hashtag, and they were like, no, I want to sleep tonight. Thank you, Mini Elon. You're exactly right. But yeah, that made me think. Well, we should try and automate this. You know, so.
Light sails launching sometime soonish. Oh yeah. These are different propulsion hell desk.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different propulsion that people are working on. It certainly feels like we're in a new renaissance of space stuff right now. It's kind of an exciting time to watch all of this unfurl. The thing is that we've become so used to the speed of innovation in technology that I think we expect that same speed in space.
It's starting to spill over, though, right? I mean, there was almost no kind of innovation like this 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. We weren't iterating rockets and vehicles and CubeSats. My gosh, how fast can they launch a CubeSat and relaunch a CubeSat? You've had what's the name of the company that's doing the CubeSat launches? NanoRacks. Right, thank you, Dada. NanoRacks. NanoRacks is able to essentially launch, get results back, and relaunch the next iteration of an experiment 3 times in 1 year.
Huh.
Right? And the CubeSat on the International Space Station and be able to have it up there for months at a time. Each iteration, 3 iterations a year. That's crazy. We were never able to do that 10 years ago. The thing you could launch on the space shuttle was called a getaway special. Right, the gas can.
Getaway special.
Right, it was a getaway special,
yeah.
GAS, and the gas can. But it took you 3 to 5 years in order to get a gas can experiment onto the shuttle and actually out into space. NanoRacks is able to turn stuff around in months. Well, we were never able to do that before, and it's because of the frequency and the multiplicity of the launch vehicles that we're sending to the International Space Station. So it's all going up on the Falcon 9, pretty much, and then you can get it back. Yeah. So you can send a biology experiment up. And you don't have to wait for some astronaut to analyze the results. You can just ship it home.
30 days later, yeah.
Yeah, 30 days later or something. So we were never able to do that until very, very recently. And so the speed of that innovation is spiraling up pretty quick.
You could do it. I mean, it took longer, right? The shuttle could bring stuff back, too.
Shuttle could bring stuff back. But as I said, the problem was it took so long to get onto a shuttle, and the experiments were all very large, and they had much higher constraints because they didn't want anything to fail, right? So the concept of fail early, fail often is driving innovation, which is a great thing. So I'm real excited about that.
Where do you think the industry will be in another 10 years then? Looking in your crystal ball.
Oh boy.
How close to Mars will we be with humans in 10 years?
I will have hope that we will have done a free return trajectory flyby in 10 years.
Okay. So an Apollo 8 around Mars, essentially.
Yeah. What was the group that was talking about doing that?
Was it
Not
Tito?
Mars?
Was it?
Dennis Tito's group.
Yep. I don't remember what the name of it was though, but they're not doing that anymore.
Unfortunately, I think it's a great idea. That's something they should be planning for today. That should be 8 to 10 years from now. We should be sending somebody on a free return trajectory around Mars. They're already sending somebody up for a year on the International Space Station. The next step is to send somebody for 18 months on a free return trajectory.
Dada, what button did I take away from your control surface?
I don't have a screen button.
Dada screen button.
There you go.
Like a pip.
That's it.
Input 11. It used to say
Oh, I screwed up the, yeah. Hi, Dada.
Hashtag DuttaCam.
Inspiration Mars. Thank you, Destructor
Yes,
701.
right. Inspiration Mars. And I think it was inspiring. I think it would have been great.
Dada, that's slightly creepy. Inspiration, yeah, what? I go back and forth on that one, right? So, it's the first human on Mars. I go back and forth on that one.
I think it's the right next step.
It is the right next step, but we've become impatient, and so we don't want to do the iterative thing. We want humans on Mars, right? We space geeks do. I'm not sure how much the rest of the planet actually cares. I mean, All right, so
forget them. Let's go do it.
So continuing on, what else do you think will be changed in 10 years in aerospace?
10 years.
Aerospace is kind of a dumb term because they're two different things. So in the space industry,
There will be commercial entities actively operating on the moon.
So like rovers kind of thing? Mm-hmm. What will they be doing, do you think? Other than just poking around, or
poking around, soil samples, sending back pictures. I think that you're going to find by then you'll have a significant number of the GLXP teams will have been to the moon, regardless of who wins. Mm-hmm. I think that you will see people continuing to go. Moon Express is going to be up there pretty frequently, I think, and I think in 10 years you could start to see commercially available lunar sample return missions.
Interesting. Now, will that change the laws in the U.S.? My understanding is that owning a piece of lunar rock or something like that is illegal in the U.S. or something like that.
I don't know the law on that.
We need to bring our space lawyer back and see if I'm full of BS. Well, no, I am. But see if my understanding was we had a law built because it was so freaking expensive to go to the moon that we basically made it illegal for you to, as a person, to own anything from the moon.
Okay.
So anyhow, all right, moving on.
That should definitely change. I think
that could be. That could be not true too. I mean,
I think that you could probably fund a commercial lunar return mission program as a corporation. I mean, you could make that a going concern. If, let's say, what would it cost you to bring back a couple of kilograms?
Helldesk says only Apollo rocks are illegal to own, the others from natural events. But there are those from natural events. So that makes sense. So those that were part of the Apollo program.
Apollo.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. NASA claims that they're owned by NASA. They're owned by they're owned
by the U.S. government.
They're owned by the U.S. government. BS is beam splitter. Okay. So I think that if you could, you could probably, if you had a regular campaign of things going, you could probably get lunar sample returned back from the moon for about $100 million. For about, I think you could do $100 million for 10 kilograms.
What would that seems like a lot of money for...
Well, it's $10,000 a gram, if I do my math right.
So what am I getting out of that? I mean, what am I...
You would own a gram of moon rock for $10,000. How many people do you think on the planet, either for research...
I would put that into like a wedding ring or something.
Either for research or for jewelry, or for just to own it and put a rock on there,
Oh, there you go.
You've seen this, right?
No, I haven't.
Mini museums?
That's cool.
Yeah, so each piece in the mini museum is real, and they're all authentic pieces. There's different variations of the museum, but then you can have a teeny tiny little piece of a bunch of different kinds of things.
Sure.
I believe there's like fossils and all kinds of fun stuff. But yeah, lunar rock is one of them. Martian rock.
Chelyabinsk meteorite. Yeah, all kinds of neat stuff.
Yeah.
So my point is, I think that you could probably break even at about $10,000 a gram. So Planetary Resources, get on that, guys.
Chris, you better be watching.
Should be watching anyway. So that's a possibility. I think that there's going to be regular broadcasts from the moon that we're going to be able. They might even be able to drive. You may. This year?
This show?
Sure, yeah, we can broadcast from the moon. We can at least bounce it off.
We'll have the Earthrise in the background, which would be just a permanent Earth, because we'll have to position the studio absolutely perfectly.
So you'd see the shadow go across, but it would always stay in the same place. So you'd have to be on the North Pole.
Actually, it will move a little bit, is my understanding.
It's 1.5 degrees.
It moves just a little bit.
Not much. Dennis Wingo, who you've had on the show before as well, just put up a terrific blog post about the next steps on mining the moon and how we could actually build a permanently populated moon base for, I think his number was $2 billion a year.
That seems very reasonable.
Yeah.
That seems within NASA's budget reasonable.
Yeah. And how he's already got a lot of the technology and a lot of the planning for how you would basically bootstrap that environment. So he just put that blog post, I think, came out like yesterday. And he's Wingo D on Twitter.
Quantum G asked, what are you up to? If you can talk about it.
The one thing I can talk about that I'm up to is on the LCross program, we had done some new avionics and software. And so what we're doing is taking the avionics and software that we did on LCross, and we're making a product line out of it. So basically, you can come to us
The
and
moon
say,
bombing product
the
line?
moon
Is that-
bombing product line. Well, it's good for anything, right? So this is
You can bomb Mars. You can bomb the moon. You can bomb
I
Venus.
said something about bombing the Mars the other day, and everybody laughed.
It's good for anything. I'm sorry, I derailed
So
you. Yeah.
we can fly satellites in low Earth orbit. We can go to the moon. We can go deep space. It's really just the attitude control software. It changes out, and the,
So it's
the
kind of like a
payload
GNC kind of thing?
Payload interfaces, swap out. It's what they call the payload bus. It's like the blocks and bricks and structure and thrusters, and then okay, what do you want to bolt on that? Oh, you want to fly a telescope, or you want to fly a radar, or you want to fly a magnetometer system, or whatever it is that you want to fly, and you want to go to Jupiter. Okay, well, I can sell you that, and we can go to Jupiter. But its basic product line and all of what's called the non-recurring engineering, the NRE, has already been bought and paid for by Northrop Grumman. So that concept means that you don't have to pay for any new development. The only development that you have to pay for is what is you want to do that's fancy and new that we don't already have, right? So you want to fly an instrument that's got a super high payload downlink rate, or needs a terabyte of onboard storage. That's going to be extra over and above our baseline. And so we've been working on that for 5 years. It's kind of been slow roll. There's been other projects that have come and gone in that, profit-making projects, but this has been Northrop Grumman's product line for a while. And
So you're commercializing LCross.
we're basically commercializing LCross and getting rid of all the non-recurring engineering. So all the final tests and some of the final hardware development's being done this year. So,
That's cool.
yeah.
We still have to do an open.
Shenanigans. All right. I'll say, and then we'll do an open, and then we'll close out the show.
Want
That
to do
makes sense.
launch, failure, test.
Launch. Whee! Test. Is that too
It might be slightly insensitive.
insensitive? Yeah. Cool looking footage. Launch. Uh-oh. Test.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
All right.
Launch. Splashdown Bingo.
So I'll say coming up, and then you'll go launch. You'll go launch. I'll say launch. You'll say, uh-oh, or something.
Uh-oh.
That's good. No, that's good.
Nah, again, too insensitive.
Yeah.
And then so you'll say, uh-oh.
Or do you want to do it in the order that we did the stories?
What did we do this
Like,
story?
I had the first story.
Okay.
So you didn't even say
Yeah. So I said, I'll say coming up, and then you say launch.
Yeah. Let's
I
go
said
back to that.
Launch.
Right?
Yeah. I'll say coming up, you say launch. He says
CV,
launch. I say launch.
BB,
Oh, then
CV.
I say launch, and then ooh. Launch, and then I'll just say launch, and then you'll go test. And we'll just ignore uh-oh.
Just ignore the failure?
Yeah.
Launch, test.
Yep. So it's launch, test.
Test.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right,
Okay.
Cool. Here we go.
Camera? Which camera?
We're gonna go
That
here,
one.
right?
Okay.
Coming up.
Launch,
Launch.
test.
And I have an interview with this dude right here. Stay tuned. Tomorrow begins right now.
Can you do that one more time? Pour your audio down your clipping.
Do you have compressors on that?
We do, but I'm loud.
Yeah, but you can hear it. But
Ready?
Sure.
Coming up.
Launch,
Launch.
test.
I forgot my line. I was done, right? That was it.
Yeah. Launch, test.
All right, this is 3.
Benny.
Coming up.
Launch,
Launch.
test.
And I have an interview with this guy right here. Stay tuned. Tomorrow begins right now.
there it is.
Nailed it.
Third time.
You're welcome.
All right. I think we're done. Are we done?
Yeah.
I feel like we're done. All right, guys. You like my shirt, Internet, by the way? Like that?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
What is this?
Palpatine
Vader
Vader.
2016. Join,
Join
us or die.
Ooh.
Ooh, that was well done. A little creepy. All right. What's the topic next week? I don't think we have a guest next week. Do we have a guest lined up next week?
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, we do have a guest lined up next week. It's Lisa. That's why she's bringing it up.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I feel like a jerk. I feel
Because
like
we
a
didn't put it in the rundown.
I didn't put it in the rundown. I'm embarrassed and turning red.
He is.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, take 2. Ready?
Good thing I'm doing the interview.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It is a good thing you're doing it. You do great interviews.
I'm not going to comment on that.
So,
You don't have to.
I brought up with Lisa that I thought it would be a wise move to bring her on the live show so people could get...
Oh, so we could just put
too
in
wicked.
next week's topic, someone. It's great.
You did have a guest. I think.
No, I'm not sure who. I hate you all. All y'all. Anyhow, no, I thought it'd be good to bring Lisa on so she could introduce herself to the community a little bit more, talk about what she does, and geek out about space a little bit. I thought that would be a good space pod. So,
You mean a show.
I meant it. You know what? We're done.
All right.
We're done. We out. Thank you, everyone. Have a
Mini Stowage is now known as someone. That's good. I like it. I like it. Man.
All right.
Man.
See you guys.
man.
Have a good one.
Bye.